What's up, programmer? In this video, I am going to explain overloaded functions in C++ programming. So, what are overloaded functions? Overloaded functions are functions that have the same name as another function but accepts different types of parameters. When you use the function, your compiler will choose the most ideal version of the function based on the types of the arguments that you pass in the function. Now, I am going to show you how to write an overloaded function. In this example, suppose that we want to write a function that adds two numbers together. Now, this function that I just created takes two integers as arguments. The first integer argument will be x, the second integer argument would be y, and then it will take those two integers, add both of the values, and return the total. Now, instead of just adding two integers, what if we want to add two floating point numbers? We could write another function just like this. Now, this new function that we just created does the same thing as the first one, but it will accept float values instead of just integer values. The compiler will use one of the versions of the function depending on what type of arguments that we have. So in this example, the integer total variable will use the integer variable of the function, while the float sum variable will use the float version of the function. So when we run the program, you can see the final result and the total values for the integer total variable and the float sum variable. Now we can also overload functions with different numbers of parameters in a function. For example, I am going to create a function that will calculate the volume of a rectangular prism. For this function, it will take three integers, one for the length, one for the width, and one for the height. And then it will multiply the length, the width, and the height together, and it will return the final result. But let's say, for example, we also wanted to calculate the volume of a cube. Now for a cube, all the sides are the same length, so we could basically overload the function with different parameters. Now for this version of the function, it will take only one integer for the length of one side, and then it will return the cube of that length. The program will use either function depending on the arguments that we placed it in the function call. So I created two new variables. The first variable is for the rectangular prism and its volume, and the second variable is for the cube and its volume. For the function call of the rectangular prism, I have three arguments, and for the function call for the volume of the cube, I only have one argument. So when we run the program, you can see the final result for both of the variables. The rectangular prism volume is 6 because for the arguments I have 1, 2, 3, and when we multiply all three of these values together, we get 6. For the 27, this is the volume of the cube. In the function call, I only have one argument, which is 3, and when you multiply 3 times, you will get 27, which is the final result. Now, overloading functions can make your code a lot easier to read by allowing you to write a single function that can use different data types and different parameters. This is a beginner's tutorial to overloaded functions in C++ programming. This is easy syntax, and I hope you enjoyed the video.